Welcome to today's Explainer. We're cutting straight through the endless hype of new model releases to talk about something way more grounded. Today, we're looking at the very real economic and regulatory friction that enterprise tech leaders are running into right now in 2026. If you've been feeling like there's this massive, widening gap between wild AI capabilities and the actual reality of running a business, yeah, you are absolutely not alone. We're going to break down exactly what happens when limitless technical ambition slams right into the hard walls of corporate budgets and compliance laws.
Look, I think tech writer Aaron Rose absolutely hit the nail on the head with this quote. He says, an agentic system isn't just an engineering tool, it's a massive API bill waiting to happen. And while is that the harsh reality check we're unpacking today? We're watching a full-on collision between boundless AI ambition and the super rigid reality of enterprise budgets, all wrapped up in a rapidly fracturing map of state laws. It's a fascinating, but honestly pretty chaotic time to be building in tech. To make sense of all this, here is the agenda for today's Explainer. We'll hit 4 key areas. Number 1, the true price of agentic AI. 2, defining the loss of control. 3, the fragmented compliance map. And 4, a quick hit on a crucial token countdown. Let's get right into it.
Starting off with Section 1, the price of agentic AI, and specifically Anthropic's Opus 4.8 reality check.
So, there is a stark contrast right now between PR headlines and actual boardroom conversations. Anthropic obviously wants the headline to be strictly about coding accuracy, and hey, being 4 times less likely to let coding flaws pass unflagged is a massive operational win for sure. But enterprise CTOs, they know the real story. The enterprise reality is that spinning up these highly capable parallel AI agents is rapidly becoming a massive financial liability. Literally, unchecked token burn is what's keeping tech leaders up at night.
To put this in context, Opus 4.8 was rushed out just 41 days after version 4.7. 41 days. That incredible pace is a direct response to how fast OpenAI and Google are moving. Now, base pricing stays exactly the same, $5 per million input tokens and $25 per million output tokens. But it introduces a powerful and honestly pretty risky new feature in research preview called dynamic workflows.
Okay, so what actually are dynamic workflows? Basically, it's a feature allowing Claude to spin up hundreds of parallel subagents in a single session to execute massive autonomous operations. Think like a full codebase migration. And this brilliantly illustrates the core tension in tech right now. Dynamic workflows sound absolutely incredible on paper, but spinning up hundreds of subagents for a massive refactoring job, that's exactly the kind of operation that can vaporize your entire annual enterprise API budget in a matter of hours. It's the kind of feature that gives both your lead engineers and your accounting team synchronized night sweats. Actually, looking at the broader landscape, we're already seeing major enterprise pilots get completely canceled just because token billing ate the entire yearly AI budget.
Because of that massive risk, Anthropic couldn't just release this feature in a vacuum. They essentially had to build safeguards against their own pricing model. So, step 1, they implemented explicit effort controls to hard cap exactly how much compute Claude can throw at a given task. And step 2, alongside that, they drastically slashed the price of fast mode, making it 3 times cheaper while running at 2.5 times the speed. They had to rush these cost control mechanisms out just to keep large-scale enterprise pilots from being totally derailed by API costs.
Moving on to Section 2, defining loss of control, and taking a look at OpenAI's Frontier Governance Framework.
With the federal voluntary safety review window effectively killed in just 8 days last week, OpenAI is pivoting, and they're pivoting hard. They just published their Frontier Governance Framework, which is a public compliance document explicitly mapped directly to California's Transparency and Frontier AI Act and the EU AI Act's Code of Practice. The message here is pretty clear. If the federal government isn't going to build a regulatory floor, OpenAI is signaling they're just going to comply with the state and supranational floors instead. Now, within this new framework, OpenAI has formally articulated, on the public record, what a dangerous loss of control system actually looks like technically. Just look at these risk tiers. A Tier 2 model is defined as being capable of reliably evading detection across evaluation methods, including chain-of-thought monitoring. And a Tier 3 model? That's defined as being superior to expert humans in complex projects and capable of operating autonomously for extended periods. Having these kinds of terrifying capabilities explicitly defined in a governance document, well, that changes the legal reality of AI development overnight.
And that formal definition leads us perfectly into Section 3. The fragmented compliance map. State-level regulation is now the map.
The White House confirmed just recently that state-level regulation is the new intended path for the U.S., right after the sudden death of that unified federal executive order. And because of that, California's legislative machine has gone into absolute overdrive. Today, May 29th, is the crucial crossover legislative deadline in California. This means bills have to pass their chamber of origin today to even remain alive before the summer adjournment hits on July 2nd.
So instead of preparing for one clean, simple federal standard, enterprise compliance teams now have to map their entire AI stack to a highly fragmented grid of state laws. We are seeing a massive volume of active bills moving through state houses right now. We're talking 30 active AI-related bills in California alone, 9 in Illinois, and 3 in Arizona. And remember, they're all moving on completely different timelines with totally different technical requirements. It is like a giant puzzle.
Let's zoom in on California, just to see how complex this really gets. You've got bills like SB 300, 867, and AB 1609 focusing heavily on chatbot regulation, transparency, and compliance. But then, and this is a big one, you have a massive operational shift hidden in AB 1542. This proposes a complete, hard ban on businesses selling or sharing sensitive personal info to third parties. That would entirely override the current opt-out model, meaning if you're building consumer AI applications, your data pipeline might literally become illegal in California in a matter of months.
Which brings us to a rather profound bit of irony, perfectly summed up by Aaron Rose here. The federal vacuum doesn't mean less regulation, it means harder to navigate regulation. You know, the tech industry successfully lobbied against what would have been a pretty simple voluntary 90-day federal review window, and as a result, they basically earned themselves years of navigating a vastly more expensive, disjointed, and fractured state-by-state legal landscape.
Finally, let's wrap up today's explainer with Section 4, Quick Hits, Token Countdown. Let's talk about some immediate developer operational deadlines.
3. That is the magic number. There are exactly 3 days remaining until GitHub Copilot officially shifts over to token-based billing this coming Monday, June 1st.
So why does this matter so much? Well, if your engineers are eagerly testing the new Anthropic Opus 4.8 model inside Copilot Pro, Business, or Enterprise right now, you really need to be aware of the math. Utilizing Opus 4.8 currently carries a massive 15x premium request multiplier. Yeah, 15 times, until that billing switch actually happens on Monday. The immediate action item here, if you're running an engineering team, is to go check your projected costs in your GitHub billing overview today. Do it before you get a very, very nasty surprise next week.
As we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with something to really think about. We're watching AI capabilities scale rapidly to levels of autonomous intelligence we have never seen before. But as those capabilities grow, the friction is growing right along with them. So here's the question. Are enterprise budget constraints and a chaotic, fragmented grid of state laws now the actual real walls blocking the path to artificial general intelligence? It kind of seems like the technology might be ready, but our bank accounts and our law books are definitely not. Thanks so much for joining me today, and keep questioning the reality behind the tech.